Yo, for legal reasons, the story you're about to hear is a work of fiction and untrue. Thank you and enjoy the video. What's poppin'? This is a new thing I'm trying out for this channel where I tell stories. I was a bit torn on where to start with this. I had a few ideas, but I figured that this one was pretty eventful. So I'm going to be telling the story of the time me and a close friend, who we'll call Mabel, skipped school. So this was like late September 2017, very early into my junior year of high school. And on this particular day, we had a rally. And you might not know what that is, depending on where you go to school. But at my high school, basically what a rally was, they did like 2 or 3 a year. It was basically an assembly, but it was like they'd have like the cheer squad go out there and do shit. And this one in particular was the football field. So we all had to sit in these uncomfortable ass bleachers, fucking watch this shit. So what happens is I'm walking to this rally probably, and I end up meeting a couple of my friends, Mabel and the other one we'll just call Evan. And they're going back and forth talking about, oh, we should skip today, blah, blah, blah. And then I don't know exactly how the conversation went, but somehow it evolved from us just like skipping the rally to actually going to the rally and then skipping class after that. We legit actually went to this fucking rally, sat in the bleachers for the entire length of it. I remember Mabel was playing Counter-Strike on my crappy ass laptop I had at the time. I still have that laptop. It's a Dell. It's indestructible. It's super clapped out now, though. But anyway, the rally ends, and at this point, it's lunch. And so we walk over to by where the pool is, because we're still like, and we're like kind of going back and forth. And we get to the pool, and right beyond the pool is the gate. So we're just standing there like chatting. And I don't know what Evan's problem was, but at one point he was like, wait, you guys are actually going to ditch? And then he got all mad and like walked off. And at that point we're like, well, we better make this happen, because like before he goes like and tells someone or something stupid. So we're like watching the gate, and there's a supervisor chilling on a golf cart. Just like, I think they were posted up watching 2 gates, the one we were at, and there was like another one. And I don't know what happened, if they were just going to the other gate to, patrol or whatever, or if they saw something over there. But we saw them drive towards this other gate. And at that point, we're like, all right, now's our chance. Mabel runs first, flings the gate open. So the way this was laid out was there was like a main gate that was like wide enough, like maybe wide enough for 2 cars to pass through it. And that one was locked. That was always closed up during school. But there was a side gate that was the kind where you could push it open from the inside, but once it's shut, you couldn't get back in. So Mabel runs straight for that gate, flings it open. I run out behind him, and at this point, we're like in the parking lot basically already, but like there was a couple portables there to the left, which, like, now that I'm thinking about it, kids probably had class in those portables, so at this point it probably wasn't that weird for us to be outside the gate. But we weren't really thinking about that. We were just running, and we run past these classrooms, like maybe 2 or 3 portables, make a sharp left, and then a sharp right, and at this point we're by the tennis courts. And once again, Mabel flings open the gate to the tennis courts, runs in. I run in after them, hear the gate smack shut behind me. And at this point, there's like tennis courts on each side of us. And there's like, between the gate and the end of the tennis courts is like 2 tennis courts. So we run that distance. We get to the fence. Mabel goes right over the fence in one motion, like they trained for it or something, bagging everything straight over the fence. Runs into the orange groves that were right next to the high school. I'm still in the tennis courts, like, oh shit, what do I do? And I'm like yelling, like, yo, help! I got a big bag, because I had my laptop in this bag, and like textbooks and all this shit. I was a good student, but anyway, So I had this big heavy ass bag, and I'm like, I don't know if I can go over this fence with this bag. So Mabel runs back out of the trees, comes to the fence. I throw the bag over, they catch it, and then I finally go over the fucking fence. And then we both run back into the trees, the first line of trees. And the way these orange groves were, is there was probably like at least 20, 25 lines of trees all the way from where we were basically at the edge of the high school campus, up to like the street. So and we didn't know if there's going to be any workers in these groves or what the hell was going to happen. But I mean, these groves were a pretty popular spot for kids to diss. They go in there, they'd fucking have sex, smoke weed, do whatever. Fucking which is probably partially why they ended up these groves don't exist anymore. They took them out like a couple years after I got out of high school. But so we're in these orange groves, and Mabel kind of takes the lead, and they're like walking, and they go out of the first line of trees, look both ways, no workers. All right, come on. Second line of trees, look both ways. All right, there's no one. Come on. And we did that all the way to the other end of the groves, at which point we were like, at that point we had covered all the lines of trees, so we kind of were able to relax a little more because we figured it was probably clear of humans at least. We saw a coyote, at least Mabel did. I didn't see it, but they told me it was there. But so anyway, we get to the end of the groves, and there's like a brick wall, because there's like, at this point we're just like at the backside of like a bunch of businesses between us and the street. So we're walking along this wall, basically, like trying to find just like, trying to think of our next move. And we get to this one spot where there's like, it's kind of open, like we could kind of jump over, but I think there was no, I don't think there was barbed wire in that spot. Before this, actually, we were at a spot where there was barbed wire, and we're like going back and forth and like trying to decide how we're going to get over it. And I don't know exactly what the conversation was, but we decided we weren't going over that way. So we keep walking along. We get to this other spot where there isn't barbed wire, but there's like, we don't know what's on the other side. I took my phone and I took a picture at that point through like a crack in the wall to see what was on the other side. And I couldn't see shit. It was just like junk. But I still have that picture, which is why I know this was late September 2017. Maybe I'll throw it on the screen or something. But so we get to that point. We keep walking. And then we get to, I want to say where it was like a little more open. And we're just still just like going back and forth about what to do. And then we hear somebody yell, "Hey." I don't know if it was directed at us or what, but it was just one word, "Hey." They yelled it, and we ran back into the groves. Like, we went like back in like probably 4 or 5 lines of trees, just like full sprint, not giving a fuck. And we both got super scratched up from that. I ended up with a scratch on the left side of my face that was like straight across, like from my nose to my ear, basically. And like, my mom asked me where that came from when she picked me up after this, and I'm like, I was like, just like, I don't know. And she goes, "You must have did that in your sleep," which was hilarious because I didn't have it that morning. But either way, so we run back in these lines of trees. We don't hear anything else, and then we're like, all right, well, that was weird. But probably at that point we were like, all right, well, we probably shouldn't hang around in here too much longer. So we decided to leave the groves finally. And we find this spot where like there was no fence, no wall, no nothing. It was just a line of trees, and then we could just like walk out, and there was like a curb, and there was just like a parking lot. So we pop out there, and for some reason Mabel tells me to carry my backpack like it's with my hand, like it's a bag, so we don't look like students, which is what we did until we got to like the street and decided that was fucking stupid. But either way, so we're walking through this lot, and there's like a couple workers there, like just like standing next to a truck, just like watching us. They had to know what we were up to, but they just didn't care. So we get to the street, put our bags on, walk back up to the corner by the Circle K, wait for the crosswalk, cross the street, and because we were going to this little shopping area that was like right next to the school. There's like a couple food places in there. There's like a tanning salon in there that I actually used to work for, but that's another story. Um, and yeah, just like a bunch of businesses. There was like I think an Altura Bank there, just a bunch of shit. So we walk over and there's actually this spot where it was like kind of shady, like it was like basically a hallway. Basically, we're standing in this shady hallway that's like still kind of outside, and at that point was when we were finally like taking a look of ourselves, seeing what the damage was from running through those trees, which is when I think Mabel mentioned to me that I had a scratch on my face. And then they pulled their shirt up to show me their back, and their back was so fucking scratched up. I legit said to them, "Oh my god, you look like the fucking Witcher." If you've ever played The Witcher and you've seen him when he's doesn't have any armor on, his back is super fucked up. It's all scarred. That's what Mabel's back looked like. So we're kind of just talking at that point, trying to decide what to do next, and then we see this group of girls come from the left. And it looked like they were walking back towards the school because I think this was still during lunch. So I assume they were probably just ditching to go get lunch and then go back to class. That was not our intention. But anyway, so we see them walking, and the only thing they said to us was, "Oh, there's a cop over there," which is funny because obviously they knew what we were up to and they were on the same shit. And so they say, "There's the cop over there," and they like point, and we're like, "Oh, thanks, appreciate it." And then I don't know how long we waited because we actually went the way they came from because there was a taco place by there. It was called Tia's Tacos. And we wanted to get some fucking tacos. So we go to Tia's Tacos and we walk up to the counter and we both order a couple tacos, whatever. I paid for it because I was the only one with money. And I forget what the worker asked us, but I remember she asked us if we wanted something. And like, right before she asked, a couple cops came into this fucking restaurant. And they're like in line behind us. Or no, I don't think they were in line because they did leave. I don't know what they were there for. But they've come in and we're just like standing at this counter with our backs to them. Like hoping they don't notice. Because we were worried if we turned around that they'd fucking know we were high schoolers. As if the fact we had backpacks on wasn't enough of a giveaway already. But anyway, so the worker asked us if he wants something, and of course, Mabel's like, "Yeah, of course," and they like walk away to get it. And while they're away getting whatever it was, the cops leave. So they come back, and we're like, "All right, cool, we're in the clear." So we go sit down, and I actually have another picture I took of us just like at the table, and I remember I sent it to the Discord we had at the time. And fucking Evan was the first person to say anything. And he goes, "Mad Lad's really ditched." And we're like, yeah, that's what we said we were going to do. So then after that, we like eat our food, whatever. And then we're just like chilling, talking about everyone else that's still at school while we're fucking doing this shit. And then one of the like assistant principals walks into the restaurant. Once again, I don't know what they were there for. I'd never even seen them up to this point, but Mabel knew who they were. And they're like, and we both just kind of freaked out. We went into the bathroom. It was a single bathroom, just for like one person. We both went in there. And while we're in the bathroom, we're both just like pacing back and forth, going back and talking back and forth, saying, "Oh fuck, what do we do? He's gonna recognize us." And then finally, after about a couple minutes of that, Mabel's like, "All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop out of this bathroom, and then I'm gonna walk straight for the door. You're gonna follow me." And that's what we did. We weren't seen. I don't know how. And then we like just walked around the other side of the shopping center, and we like sat at a table. At this point, we're in front of this place called Adelia's Grinders. It's like a sandwich place. And we didn't order anything because we had already eaten, obviously. But we were just like sitting there because like no one was there. It seemed like a pretty good spot to chill. And also, I think Mabel mentioned that it was a popular place for kids to ditch because like there was like somebody who went to school with us that worked there. I think they graduated a year before I remember bringing them up, and Mabel was like, "Oh yeah, they graduated." But anyway, so we're sitting at this table, just like chilling at this point. Nothing else eventful really happens, except for Evan deciding to tell everyone else we knew that we did this, which resulted in Mabel's partner at the time hopping in their DMs and like basically arguing with them for the entire time we were sitting here. And like legit, we sat there until school got out, like 2 hours later. We both went to our parents' cars, got picked up by like normal, which was kind of funny. That was at that point when my mom mentioned the scratch on my face. But yeah, so that happened. We both go home. I think Mabel got in some trouble, but my mom just asked me why I was marked absent. I fucking told her that we had a rally and they probably screwed up, and she bought it. So yeah, that's the story.